Live for our financial peace of mind. That's what I am here for. I'm JB Bryan, President and Chief Investment Officer of JB Bryan Financial Group, the home of AfroEconomics and a registered investment advisory firm. It's so good to see you all out there. Oh, it's good. It was great to come in the studio and see Miss Davis in the studio before me. No, that's right. Yes, she was. Look at her. Look at her. That's what she does. Every time she comes in, she dominates. Let's get her down. Shut up. Just shut up. No, I love you. Treat her like a queen. That is the AfroEconomics Member of the Year 2023. Look at her. Look at her. I got to put that picture up. I got this great picture of you. And Ryan put it together. And it is like stuck on my phone. Thank you, Ryan, for your graphics. I see you, Mr. Jones, chilling in the house. I see how they do it in DC. They do it chill. Yes, indeed. How you doing, Queen Howard? That is chill music. When you got the nerve, you got the guts, you come into the studio. That's right. Like Jones and Davis team. Sounds like a law firm. Jones and Davis. We got Jones and Davis in the studio today. We're talking about the cost of violence. The cost of violence. And it is interesting. That's what kind of slowed me down today. Was I got carried away, like reading. There's some really interesting stuff out there. Like, you know how you think, oh, am I the only one that thinks this way? Because I was like, I must be the only one that thinks this way. And I discovered, like, I'm not the only one that thinks that there is a really hard slam on our community when you're talking about the cost of violence. It costs us so much. It costs us so much. I want y'all out there, to just think about it. I want to see your chats. I'm gonna put it up here. I want to share with you. I want to see, what you think before I start spitting out. Like, I want you to give me some feedback on what you feel the cost of violence is, to your friends or your family or your, just specifically, like how specifically have you seen like the cost of, violence? Like it costs so much to be heartbroken. That those are the type of things, the cost that violence has is impossible to calculate. It's just hard to calculate, but we're going to do our best to try to, monetize something that is just, costing us so much. And then you have to think about what violence represents as what the value of our Black lives is seen in the world that we live in. I watched the tape last week at Tyson's Corner, Virginia, where the buzzer went off in the mall, and because they couldn't have seen the tape where they thought that he picked up sunglasses. Like, that's the playback. The playback tape is, this is where we think he picked up sunglasses, and this and that, love. But so it had to be the buzzer. They got 3 security personnel, plus I know at least one armed person to run him down. Now, Tyson's Corner, Virginia is probably one of the biggest malls in the United States of America. So he's leaving. So he's got all this traffic, all this stuff. They're running after him. They're running after this one black man. Three security personnel, at least one with a weapon. I don't know. There was like two that were plain clothes. So just imagine if he didn't even see the third one that was coming in a uniform. He just saw these two men running after him. And he was running to protect himself. So he runs across the traffic. He doesn't get hit by the car, thank God. But they come and, I'm sure they have families, but they don't get hit by a car. I mean, it's like 4, 6, maybe 8 lanes. So then they get to the woods, and the one with the weapon shoots the black man in what we're told was the chest and kills him over a buzzer going off in the mall. So we must live in a world that says that we get to be violent for 30, 20, 40, I don't know. Mr. Jones, think about this now. You're in Nordstrom's. You walk over to sunglasses and you pick them up and you look at the sunglasses. How much do you think that they cost? I just want to know. How much do you think they cost?
I'm not the right person for that. I don't buy sunglasses.
Yeah, just guess.
$50.
Exactly. Why? Because they were just laying up there on the wall, right? They were just laying. Because if they're expensive in Nordstrom's, they put them behind the counter and you got to ask for them.
Mm-hmm.
So just like you said, they had to be $50 or less, because they just letting everybody just come up and grab them. So that's it. Now, okay, I have a really hard question for you, Mr. Jones. This is a really hard question. I need you to brace yourself for this. This is like SAT style.
Okay.
I forgot. That was joking. I did though.
Okay.
It's a really hard question. Did I tell you that the news is now that he did not have any items? He didn't steal anything.
Okay.
So you didn't steal anything, but do you think you look like somebody that would steal something?
Do I think no? But I'm sure that's what people look at me, especially when I have my athletic gear on.
Yeah.
And then when I put clothes on, like security in my building would always tell me, you look a whole lot different when you have put your clothes on. I said, is that a good thing or a bad thing? They would never answer me.
Yeah. But see, we have that challenge. Black people have that challenge because we're so judged and stereotyped in our own country. You might be 3 or 4 or 5, or I don't know. I'm like all these generations deep in America, So if there's anybody American, there's probably a whole bunch of black people that are American, but you have grown into a stereotype that is, let's run him down. He probably took those shades. He don't look like he has $50. You don't have $50, and then so they're gonna run you down because you don't look like the security guard said. Oh, well, when you put on, that's how people get scammed so easily. Mm-hmm. Because all somebody has to do is put on something that looks like they work with white people, and then boom, they can scam anybody.
That's right.
Because they could have taken them. If that brother, he could have, taken them. He could have taken those shades probably if he had just, I don't know. I couldn't tell like exactly what he had on, but the buzzer went off. Sometimes I think people in that thing buzz you. What do you think, Ms. Davis? I think they buzz you. They see you coming out the door and they go, I don't like the way Mr. Jones looks. Because they haven't looked at the tape. They didn't see. Maybe they did. I don't know. But how they going to see you all the way over there with the shades? And all the way over there? I mean, come on.
It could be, like you say, somebody in security that's watching the monitors.
Because I get buzzed all the time.
Yeah, and say, this person looks suspicious. I don't really think he put those glasses back that I saw him try on. He tried on apparently 4 or 5 pair. Looks like maybe he kept one of them. Oh, he looks suspicious. Looks like he's hiding something, in his jacket. Clearly, I could see that by the time you get to the door, there's somebody standing to try to intercept you or make you stop or whatever the case may be.
But
and you're none wiser.
Yeah. But doesn't that mean that we're violent as a culture? That if you want to do this to something to this man, like, maybe we should ask the man of the cloth, the minister. Doesn't that make us violent if we really, nobody wants to just go over and talk to the man? like we our thing is run them down, approach them aggressively, or couldn't we create a more peaceful world by saying approximately what is the value that we will run someone across the street and risk their life? And what value is human life, even your own?
And let me also say this before, good afternoon, Reverend Bozeman. How are you? Before you speak, Reverend Bozeman, let me just say this too. I think that, and I'm not, privy to what really did happen, but more than likely when security is looking at these tapes, I think they may say, 3 weeks ago, we had someone come in that fit this very profile. Could have been a totally different person. So now you have a target on your back,
And that profile is more likely to be Black. Right.
And he was 6'1". His hair was, slightly dreaded or whatever, very, light complected, dark complected, what have you. Whereas who you think you saw 3 weeks ago is not the same person today. But that same individual 3 weeks ago was, examining the shades. They were looking at the sunglasses. That's the person.
But even though we have this hip hop culture or Black culture that is a lot of white people dress just like Mr. Jones, like his security guard was talking about. But it's like they don't get that same rundown and the same number over when they wear their Nike outfit. Like as their own records show on how we're dressed when we don't dress the way they see, like because they see a successful person can be like that, Steve Jobs, he's the one that used to wear like the black turtleneck and stuff like that. And then, when they went very casual. So it was like, you just really don't know how a successful, a white person could look. Thank you for watching, Nathan. So, but you do think what a successful Black person looks like. And Black people think that too. They think that they can tell, so we have bought into this psychology, this system of psychology that white people talk about all the time, about how Black people don't like each other. Like, you can find a whole bunch of research out there about how we address each other, how we treat each other, how we kill each other, why we kill each other, why we, don't like each other, and everything. Like those, so I guess that makes them feel more comfortable when they're able to hire us to beat each other down and kill each other. Because they know that systemically that it's very highly likely, and they do tests. People, when you get these tests, these jobs, they check to see if your mind is messed up so that you can be in that system. Because if you're open-minded, then and you're not able to judge people, and you'll say, well, I really can't judge, they probably, I don't know.
Were these people white or
Lone
black?
Wolf would know, but Lone Wolf would know. They probably give you pictures, and part of your testing is, can you pick out which one is the criminal? So you have to start, you know what I mean? That's when you start stereotyping and you don't even realize it. I'm talking about our own self, because I believe that we are the solution. I believe that we are the solution to our better life. I believe that's why I created AfroEconomics, because it's based on truth. And that the truth in financial money management and is vital for us, and we have been robbed and continue to allow ourselves to be robbed. I talked to a member today, and she had a lawyer that she gave money to, and the lawyer had to pay her back, and the lawyer didn't have the money to pay her back. And I told her, I said, you understand that lawyer broke the law, because they have to keep that money in retainer. They were not supposed to spend your money. But that's why we have to have AfroEconomics, because that's what God told me. He said, that's why you're here. That's why I gave you one more day. That's why I gave you one more day. But it hurt me to my heart that she did not know that what he had done is illegal. He said, give you, and he is using her for a payment plan that is not written. She has no legal document saying that he owes her this money. And I'm talking about, it's near 6 digits.
Mm. Wow.
You cannot do that. And and then she was like, well, black people, but it's not. We're black. And there are some good black people out here. But there are people who have been indoctrinated into a system that think that the only way that they can get ahead is by hurting us. And unfortunately, they look like us too often. And that's horrible. But no, we cannot allow the wrong ones to taint your interpretation of those in what God has put here to help you. But that happens. So there, and we have to remember we're a minority. It's very hard to function without depending on our white brothers and sisters. They're the majority. But when you start, I'm not going to deal with any black people, that really can hurt a community. And when you're black. We should make sure that everybody knows they have a responsibility to not be violent. Like what he's doing to her is violent, in my opinion. Any form of illegal activity of harm, to another is a form of violence, in a way. Like it's, it might not be like gun violence, but to rob someone of their hard-earned money is violent. To mislead them when you know the amount of risk that she's exposed to. Because if he dies today, his family is not going to make sure she gets that money. And that's a problem. So she says, oh, well, my financial advisor said that, you really need to put something in writing. You know what I'm saying? And the reason that it's not in writing is because he knows he's not supposed to do that. He's not supposed to do that. And I don't know which statute and which bar, but I know the Bar Association does not allow you to take loans from a customer. So, but because of violence that we've been exposed to, we are accepting or just just bowing to inappropriate behavior, not realizing that there are really good people out here. Really good people out here. So I wanted to acknowledge something that I found, and I was like, oh my goodness. Like, I think sometimes we think that what we're thinking about isn't known, but there are so much information, even with like the Centers of Disease Control, on how the impact of violence and its on our community. But this one, look at this. I'll even share screen so that you won't think I'm just. Oh, here he goes. This is from the Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs, Black on Black Homicide, Psychological Political Perspective. And this is from 1983. Black homicide rates are 7 to 8 times those of whites, though blacks have a rate of poverty only 4 to 5 times that of whites. That's the annotation. What does that have to do with anything? I'm like, did you see what I just wrote? I just read. Black homicide rates are 7 times higher, but their poverty is only, and this is a government document, but the poverty is only 4 to 5 times that of white. So it's like you're only like 5 times broker, but your crime is like 7 to 8 times. Like, I don't know what's wrong with them. That don't even sound right. Like, what is the relevant? Okay, well, let's just see. Because, I mean, I can see it from AfroEconomics to relevance, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, they just threw that in there. It goes, today, so do y'all want me to share it again? I'm going to share it again. Want me to share it? Could you see it?
Well, they're trying to show you that, there are the arguments that poverty has the negative effect of generating crime, of making them more prone to crime because they're in poverty.
But they haven't done that. But you haven't.
No, wait a minute. So they're starting out right away to set up the premise that, yeah, they're in poverty, but they're even more violent than their poverty levels. And therefore, these are a violent people.
And we're talking about the judicial system.
Right.
The Department of Justice.
Yeah, well, they're trying to justify they're trying to justify their negative perspective on the Black community.
I don't even see how they can even justify that, like how they could, like, they're trying. Black homicide rates are 7 to 8 times those of whites, though blacks have a rate of poverty only.
Right.
Now that's a trip. Only. Who would say only? What other group has like more than 4 to 5 times?
No, that's they're showing their agenda right away.
Only. It says today homicide is the leading cause of death. This is 83 of among young Black men and contributes significantly to the shortened lifespan of the Black male. In about 80% of the cases, the Black victims was killed another Black. And about 52% of the times, they knew each other. So we're not, but they didn't want to explain to that Black people are less likely to be a random killer. But they didn't want to say that. Just as we accept that suicide victims are psychologically impaired, we must acknowledge that a murderer is similarly impaired. With what? And Blacks, from both environmental and political reasons, are likely to reflect emotional predispositions that allow them to be more readily become a homicide statistic. Not poverty, but not poverty stricken.
No.
But not poverty.
They want to kill the poverty argument. And you can see down in here. Yeah, I know, but down here it says, while psychological study of homicide offenders and victims is difficult and not easily quantifiable, it's important to explore such variables in Black community violence. Programs focused on crime and violence prevention, therefore, must do more than alleviate socioeconomic ills.
But they didn't even address socioeconomic.
Well, this is an abstract.
Yeah, but the abstract about what they were going to talk about.
Right.
So they didn't even talk about it.
Well,
I mean, and I can't believe that they had an annotation to say that our poverty is not in line with our crime. But then you're going to come out there and talk about psychological dispositions of Black people to be a homicide statistic. That's a bold, negative statement.
Yeah, it is, but it's right in line with America.
With nothing to justify it, though.
It's in line with the American way of thinking, the white American way of thinking.
But that's only because this is the government. It's telling us how to think.
But it's white people who are doing the writing.
And this is the Journal of Victimology. So, as I was saying, they train the person in law enforcement to see us this way.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That you're more likely to be psychologically impaired, but then it moves away from that. Just as we accept that suicide is psychological, we must acknowledge that a murderer is similarly impaired. And Blacks, from both environmental and political reasons, I wonder what those are likely to reflect emotional predispositions that allow them to be more readily become a homicide statistic. That is a bold-faced lie based on nothing. You know what I mean? Like that is like, just you got to give me more than this. You got to give me more than that. They got to give me more than that. Deal. Blacks have been indoctrinated by a criminal justice system which places higher value on white life than on a Black life. And you can start your whole thing off with that. You can move that up to the top. In addition, Black, now this is kind of like a furthermore. This is a furthermore, like now the abstract, I'm supposed to be able to read this whole thing and know everything that the researcher found out. Blacks have been indoctrinated by a criminal justice system. This is 83, and they're telling us that there is no systemic racism that places higher value on white life than on a Black life. Look, they must pay attention as well to negative psychological dynamics in the Black experience that contribute to this internecine. I looked up that word like contribute to and turn this in victimization. And I was like, what is that? And it was about like mutually disgusted, like just mutual disappointment, like that genocide basically. Like, and so we must pay attention as well to negative psychological dynamics in the Black experience that contribute to basically us killing each other. Like where you have all those cops beating that young man to death. No, the black on black crime. That, but this like, this to me is everything. Blacks have been indoctrinated by a criminal justice system, which places higher value on a white life than on a black life. That is exactly why they ran down that guy across the street and shot him in the chest and felt that they were doing the right thing.
JB, quick question. If they was running behind him, how did they shoot him in his chest?
I know. He must have turned around to surrender. The write-up said he turned around, he shot in the chest. But they couldn't even, it was all on camera, but once they got in the woods, it was so dark. I have it on the AfroEconomics page on Facebook. But it was so dark. And then you did not hear them say, he has a gun or nothing like that. They just got to it. They were just woo, 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 woo. You know how that noise when they're running? And then they catch up to him, and then it's boo, do, do, do. No, like, get on the ground, blah, blah, blah. None of that. And it keeps happening over and over and over again because of what was written in 1983 that still exists today. A criminal justice system that sees, and that's them. That is a government document admitting what they have created. And we have politicians who are sitting there not fighting for that. I spent 10 minutes Googling, and it comes up, and not one of the politicians that you vote for, you know what I mean, is has a problem with that. That we still, that you self-admitted this, but you still allow people to come out and say, oh, there's no such thing as what's called systemic racism. That's not true. That's not real. Derek Chauvin is the problem. He put his foot on his neck, and that's the problem. And we shut that down, and nobody's gonna do that again. And then the girl gets a promotion. She comes over. She's got that victimization where she's doesn't care much about her people and sets up this Scorpion unit, and the Scorpion unit starts going around just locking up and shaking down and tearing people up. But remember, Derek Chauvin was the only one that acts like that. It's just him. All we got to do is lock up Derek. And before that, it was just lock up Bob. And before that, just lock up him. That this is not an individual issue that we keep letting the politicians get away with. This cost of violence is killing our community and creating way more than 4 to 5 times the poverty. Way more than that. I don't know what they were basing that on. You got extreme poverty in our community, and especially in the communities that are hit the hardest by the violence. And they know this. They're just over criminalized. We're over criminalized. And it's like a loss of hope. It's just a loss of hope for so many people. So it's like, I can't. And once you get out there and you have that on your record, what exactly is the person supposed to do? When we have where you can't even get a barber's license with in Virginia, with having a felony or something, like, and now, so what, what are you supposed to do? We're set people up to be in poverty and to live a life of crime and to expect to be killed. It's got to be.
It cannot be done through physical means. The key is we have to lock into spirit. Amen. We have to lock into prayer. And because we are a vibrating universe, because we are not solid, we can change our vibration. And by changing our vibration, we can begin to affect other people around us. There has to be a change in consciousness. And that change in consciousness can only happen if a core group of people begin to make the change.
Amen. Amen. I mean, we're totally outnumbered, but we're going to continue to do it.
No, we have God. It doesn't matter what numbers they have.
Well, that's a blessing. And you're right. When we do indeed. And you feel it. You feel it. You feel outnumbered, but we just have to stick to the plan.
Stick to the plan. That's right. The story of Gideon's army was that there were 30,000 soldiers that volunteered to fight, and God said, cut the numbers down. And then he got down to 10,000, and God said, cut the numbers down. He says, because I don't want you going out there fighting and thinking that you won the battle.
Yeah.
So go down to 300, and then you will know that when your victory comes, it is through me. And that is the philosophy we must use in saving this Black community. We have the power, this core group, of changing the consciousness of our community if we clock into God.
Amen. A person can get a barber's license from DPOR. I don't know what that is, but that share the website. And then when I looked on that, and then they said, like, oh, you are. I don't know what's that, but on it, and it said that they can turn down your license. Like, they want to know that what you have, and then they said that they can turn it down. It's on the new application. I don't know if you've done it. Of course, you've been a barber a long time, but yeah, they can. Because and under this administration and in Virginia, they were allowing people after they did their time to be able to register to vote. Now they took that back. So now they are doing changes on that. So then when the new governor, if you get another Democrat in, they'll have to go through switching it back again. But I don't really know, as a person, thank God, that has never committed a crime, I don't feel the need to be a part of the political system. So I don't know if I were a felon that I would feel like being a part of a political system that I don't think has ever served me as a highly educated business owner. I just do what I gotta do and I follow the rules, but I don't feel a need to be in that political system because I don't I just don't feel a spirit of truth in it. And just look at the new application. But I don't, so if I don't feel the truth in it, I just keep stepping. And if it's like requires like compromising, on your truth, or it's like I don't like being in environments where they go, well, just, I want people to know exactly who I am, no matter where I am. I'm the same person. That's why I don't do drugs or drink or anything. You can see me in the middle of a nightclub. You can walk up to me and ask for a ride home. I'm going to be the same person. I think we need to have more people in our life that we know they're always going to be the same way. And I thank God for y'all three, because, every time I see y'all the same person. To have some people like, and that's what our community needs. I think that is like the biggest fear that a lot of people have about most things. They just don't know what to expect. They don't know what's coming at them. When I say join AfroEconomics, I'll be there for you. They just don't know if they can trust that, because everybody's always let them down. It's so sad. And I go, I know how you feel, because that's why I started the firm, because I was always being let down. So that it's like, yeah, that's but that's what I really want to. I believe that's going to be that's going to be the blessing to our community. That's going to be how we're going to get the peace that we deserve within ourselves. I would love to see us get to the place where, no matter what the police do to us, we know that God will get us through. Like, they could come at you swinging, they could come at you with a gun, they could come at you with anything. That you just fall into like a really calm place.
Exactly.
I remember the last time was, somebody was coming at me, and it was a man, and he was going to hit me. He was going to hit me. And God said, stand. And I stood. I was like, he's going to have to take me down. Like, you know what I mean? Because I'm not running. And he was coming at me with his fist, like he was, you know what I'm saying? And I stood right there, and it had to be God that stopped him, because I was ready to take whatever was coming.
I teach a class called Working with Angels. And in the class, I teach my students to call upon the angels before they go into a situation in which they feel uncomfortable, and have the angel pave the way for the positive outcome they need.
Amen.
And and I have them use it going into business, going into court, going down the street. Whatever you are in a situation where you need to be taken care of, call upon your angel who is always there, and it will be done.
Man, I go straight to the boss. Now, and the angels, now I call the angels with them. Dear God and the angels, y'all can come too. But I really want the boss man right now. It's some serious stuff, but it's real. And you'll get, that wall of protection that you don't even know. Like, they'll just chill. They will not want to do whatever it was they were about to do, and if they do, you'll get through. You'll get through. You will get through. Look, Mr. Jones is like, you hope I don't have my, look, exactly. I didn't have my 357. I would have known I was going to get through. Even when you don't have it, you call on God. Exactly.
Yeah, it was God that stopped the man, but when you stood up, you tapped into the God within you.
Amen. And I didn't stand up. I didn't make any aggressive movements. I was already standing. I just did not go away. I didn't stand, you know what I mean? I didn't stand down. I was stand, like brace, I was like, I'm going to stand here and brace myself with every powerlifting strength I have within me. And they come, I got this. Just stand. Yeah, just stand. because you just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen to you. You don't, but you have to trust God that you don't want to become, and I did not become like the part of the violence. And that's, I hope is why it didn't become violent, because there are so many things that we can do, woman or man, to de-escalate. And unfortunately, I lost a family member, a little cousin of mine. Really, I mean, he was killed, and it could have been de-escalated, but it's just terrible. And and from what I've been told, and this is just so that it doesn't happen to anyone else out there. And please forgive me, family, if you all are listening, that I'm not saying his name at all, but that the female escalated it, and got other people involved. And like, I really feel that as, Black women, we have a responsibility to keep it cool. And like I said, like, and that's in my situation, I could have escalated that. Like, but nobody wins when we escalate it. Nobody wins. And then you're watching your back all for the rest of your life and everything. You got to think this stuff through. We have to think this stuff through. I was looking at this story about DC violence, in this brother is doing like a kind of like a Dateline thing about different situations in DC. And again, unfortunately, not to pick on us, but some women stole a bracelet from a brother and left the party. And so when the brother found out that his bracelet was gone, all the other guys that didn't steal it were joking on him, like, man, ain't nobody steal your fake bracelet. He da-da-da-da-da. But he felt disrespected, called on his brothers and friends. And the reason that we feel so easily disrespected is because of what we've been through. That, where we have been devalued in their own documents. As they said, the system has done a great job of telling us that we are of less value. And we are not. So now we have the responsibility to reprogram one another, together or not. Like, we have to figure out a way to build each other up. I have to figure out how to build each other up. Inspire, okay, this, but they just didn't, and the brother felt like, y'all ain't ignoring me. Now that bracelet was important to me. And nobody in the room really saw him escalating like that. And he called his brothers, and they came in there with AKs, shot up the whole room. I can't believe you never heard about this, Mr. Jones. It was right in D.C. And then the other side was trying to come back, but the brother didn't get killed when they were trying to kill him. And the brother came, killed some more people. It was terrible. All this over what looked like to me too, a fake bracelet. Why the woman felt like she should steal that man's bracelet, I do not know. Sam Cooke is dead because of that. A woman stole all his money. And he was in his clothes and everything, and he was naked, and he went up to the office, and he was like, somebody stole my money, my clothes, and this and that. And then the crazy lady working in the office shot him. Black lady. I bet today if I saw a naked Sam Cooke, I'd say, we got to talk about this. I'm not shooting you about how much money was in that wallet. Let me get you a blanket. What was she thinking? Oh my goodness. We can't turn this into something positive, lady. This man looks good. Lord. Shoot, next day they'd be like, Sam Cooke falls in love with the manager of the hotel. I'll get her, Sam. Don't you worry, I will get that woman. Lord.
He would have wrote songs about you and everything.
He would have been writing songs about it. Look, we've been Motel 6 before his time.
Bestsellers.
Of bestsellers. And I would have got that lady. You come out, you give him his money back. That was a big lady. I saw that one time. When I saw that story about that, I mean, it had me crying. Like crying. Like, it is such a sad story. He was so talented. And then there's certain people that say that it was all a setup. Mm-hmm. Because he was doing a record deal at that time. Like, he would have been like the big Motown, like much bigger than Motown, what he was working on. And so the lawyers and stuff owed him money and they didn't want to come up with it, you know. So we have to spiritually reconnect so that we really do feel connected. Like when I saw that with Tyson's, and I was saying on our Facebook page, the AfroEconomics Facebook page, I said, like, when they shot him, I felt like they shot every black man that I love. That I really felt personally connected to that. And I think that now we have gone past what they talked about in 1983 to a point of desensitizing. Like, we don't connect with that. Like, we hardly, unfortunately, say hi to one another. No, so this really connects to the cost of racism that we talked about last month, but it really connects mostly to, like, that we have to figure out how to learn to love one another again, and that because we're worth so much more than the bracelet. We're worth so, but we're not taught that at home. Like, and I'm not, and there is not even like an economic divide on like where you could say, black wealthy people, they are really good to their children, and black poor people are not good to you. Like, you can't even say that. You cannot say that. Because there are a lot of friends that I have who grew up in poverty, and they had really positive experiences where they know their mom, dad love them, sisters and brothers. They know they're loved. And then I know rich people who feel exactly opposite, who grew up and had everything and never felt loved. And there's also research that says a black child that grew up in a wealthy household is much more likely to go to be incarcerated at some point than a white child that grew up in a household of similar income. And a lot of it is because the black child in the household that has money is not told how the institution sees them. So they grow up, the family has money, they buy the Nikes, they get on the hoodie. They kind of like Trayvon. Trayvon was not a poverty, that his parents were doing well.
Yeah, they were.
He was in a nice neighborhood. He was dressed though like every other black kid. He was cool. He was just chilling. And he just had no idea that he was a target. He's just chilling with his son, like, I eat my Skittles and what in the world? What is wrong with this man? I remember one time I went to an appointment and these clients, they were having like a group meeting. And it was in this neighborhood. And I was there early. So I was sitting in my car, like a couple of, like in front of an empty lot where they were going to build a house later, I guess. And I had like 20 minutes. I was 20 minutes early. And I was just sitting there. Somebody called the police. And I was like, what is wrong with this neighborhood? Like, So when I went in and I told the brother whose house it was, him and his wife, and there were all these other black couples, upwardly mobile, about the experience, they didn't think nothing of it. Yeah, that's our HOA. I said, no, they called the police. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, they're on it. It's a broad daylight. It wasn't even dusk. It's broad daylight. A black woman sitting here in front. What in the world? Well, this so like you should have warned me that I was coming to a high risk area. That is ridiculous. So yeah, I'm just preparing for a meeting I have right there. I mean, they basically were like, well, get it on then, kind of, my goodness. Y'all ain't no real neighborhood. That's what I saw, what in the world? Just some houses, what in the world? They probably don't even treat people like that in Hollywood.
They live in fear.
That's so sad. They probably had never had a theft in that neighborhood ever in life. They just wanted to harass the black girl out there with nappy head. That was it. In fear of what? In fear of I might actually grow up and have confidence. Yeah, that would have to be it. They were just ignorant. And they do that all the time. And that's why that young man in the hospital got killed by all those people. The neighbor should have never called on him anyway. He's acting suspicious. That boy was at his house when they went to get him. The one now that I know his last name, but so many officers, they took him to a mental hospital, and so many officers were on him, and he was cuffed. And on his feet, he was cuffed at his feet and in his hands. Y'all saw this, right? It's in Virginia, in Richmond. It's right now. Like they just had the funeral either today or yesterday. And then it's taking on the case. But it was like, yeah, this is national. And just because a neighbor called it in, said he looked like he was doing something suspicious. And went to his door of his house. And now he's dead. There's no money that they can give them to, and that's the sad part, because, when you get the lawyer involved and the settlements, they really feel like they can just, pay the balance off, blame it on one person. Now they got 10 people locked up. Like, I'm wondering if they're gonna actually, put all 10 of them in jail for murder. So, I mean, how could 10 people get on one man? Like they would at that point would have been sitting on each other. So they're just making it, using somebody that works for the system symbolically and ruining their life. They were just doing what they've been trained to do. The challenge is that we have to stop training. We have to demand that the system stop training people to do stuff that could kill someone. And then they want to put them in jail for doing what their job told them to do. Because we don't want to hold the supervisor responsible. So we hold the little person. Now here we are, all the little people voting, and we're letting them lock up the little person. They don't do that in other countries. In other countries, the boss has to be held responsible. Who set up the Scorpion unit? She did. Well, then you are fired. Because that you did not keep control. It is out of control. And you got all these people coming up in here complaining. And they got to the point, you didn't do anything. Well, that was so-and-so and so's job. Well, you supervised so-and-so and so. And until we start doing that and going to the top, nothing is going to change. And then above her, and then above him, and then above that, Yes. But we just don't, because we like them, we like that person because they look acceptable. But we don't like, but the people that we don't look acceptable, or they're so small that they don't matter, we just let them just do whatever to them. And then it creates the same violent attitude, and it ruins the generations of that family, like it has done to our community. Even when they arrest somebody by accident, that's violence against that family. They make a mistake, they should be compensated by that. I had a member who they thought that she looked like somebody that robbed a bank, but she's really 20 years older than the real person. But somehow it went to her from a bank that she didn't even go to. How her picture came up, I do not know. They came to her house, fully guns loaded and everything, to get her. Never compensated her at all for all of that trauma. And it hurts her to this day. Like we're just like letting it just go, like letting it go. We can't like let this stuff just go like this. And there's a internecine. I keep seeing that again. There's another article that said Black internecine community violence and police violence spring from the same tree. And it says struggle is against the same enemy. Those who are pointing fingers at activists and denigrating them for putting energy into fighting police violence and citing them as a problem surely don't believe that there should be no opposition to cop brutality. Surely they are not okay with police killing us. And surely they agree that there should be organized struggle against state repression. And this is written by Seaver, Lim Seaver, and then it's called like Black Community Violence. And remember that, and then kind of like what we said, and it's saying that, building community is a key thing that we need to do. We really do. Look, I've established real job training programs, for our community, like, and that, when they talk about like the poverty causing the violence, there's no work on stopping poverty in our community. And then Congress took away the child tax credit advance. So there's no, they have evidence that the child tax credit, giving the people that credit during the year, actually does help. That the children had less food insecurity when the parents were getting the $300 or $200 per child or whatever. But Congress just stopped it. So we moved from giving a tax credit back to people who are going to get the credit anyway. So all you're doing is giving them the credit during the year, because it's kind of like, well, they're going to get this money anyway. Let's just give it to them now because people are having a hard time. Makes sense. Congress stopped doing it. That's Biden. But the same president decided that everybody should get their school loan money, though. What? How are we going to, help poverty and stop poverty and address this problem and reduce violence, but you're going to allow young people to still be hungry? They're going to have to do something to get that money. And the truth of the matter is that more money is given to people with homeowners and letting them write off interest on their mortgage than on subsidized housing. The government gives up more money for letting people write off the interest on purchasing an asset for themselves than we provide affordable, subsidized rent. But people think like, oh, poor people are holding us back and this and this and that. With all of that tax money that we're just giving, like we're just letting them have. Come on. They just get to keep, you know what? You want to buy this? You can write it off. Get what you want. So what's the lady in the hood get? Nothing. What's the man in the hood get? Nothing. Matter of fact, if you want to stay in the hood, you better not have too much in your savings account. We're going to put you out. And meanwhile, we're going to make sure that we over-criminalize you. And don't come down the street looking like you got something in your pocket, because we're going to get you. We own you. We own you. Because you live in this government housing. In that case, everybody with a mortgage that's writing it off, they live in government housing too. And they got a government loan, FHA and Fannie Mae and all of that, they in government housing too. Get them. SBA loans, starting businesses, I guess they think they own that too. No, but yeah, we don't get business loans or any of the contracts with the government, on that level to Black businesses. The few that get through, we celebrate, feel excited. But the multitude that are out there working hard, will sink. And I just don't understand. I just don't know why these Black people just can't make it, Well, to tell the truth, Lord, y'all can tell, like, my threshold of pain is pretty damn high. And I can tell why a lot of people just don't do this. It's not like you get a thank you. And don't go in business and actually want to help Black people. It's sad. There is no applause for that. As somebody said the other day, your market seems so narrow. I said, it's called a niche. That's what they call it. That is my niche. That is what God put me here to do, to help us. Like, if somebody's got to do it, I'm so blessed to be that one. No, but we have been so programmed that it's like, why would someone focus on serving us? You know, one white lady told me, she was like, you could help anybody. Why do you do it? I said, this is what I'm here to do. That's what I'm here to do. This is what I do. That right there, the question that Black people question me about it, helping us, white people question me about helping us, in 2023 shows you that we have a ways to go. It shows you why it's okay to shoot us. No, so like the Centers of Disease Control says, the roots of violence reach deep into society, and they tap into conditions like poverty, racism, joblessness, and hopelessness. This is from the Center of Disease Control. Look, poverty, joblessness, and hopelessness are the same thing. I guess they just wanted to make it look like they had 4 things. But let's talk about the racism, you know? They were like, they talk about, you know, the racism and how it impacts our disease. Like, I was looking at an article, I put it up on our AfroEconomics page, and it was talking about the impact of heart disease on Black women due to racism is 26% higher. Black women, like they were talking about the systemic racism, you know, especially like those that you feel at work and discrimination, you know, that is causing Black heart disease. And and my thing was, what do we do with that? What do we do with that stress? Like, what I had to do was start my own business. No, but that cost me a lot. So that violence of racism, you know, did cost me a lot of work, a lot of money, a lot of time. No, because it was like, I can't do this here. I can't do this in this environment. I can't do this with y'all constantly undercutting me. I just want to do my job. I don't want to have to feed her ego and explain to her 1,000 ways of how she needs to answer my phone and this and that. Like, you know how to answer the phone. Write it down right, and you do not turn my ringer off. Matter of fact, you ain't got to do nothing because I'm leaving. And that's sad because we shouldn't have to do it. But it was straight violence. You feel like the walls are coming in, and I talk to members all the time talking about that experience. They feel on attack. Any false move out of them is a big deal. Oh, thank you. So it's like we shouldn't. So the violence is not just the gun, but the violence is when you feel that you're being discriminated against. merely over something that you cannot control. No. And what we need to do is whatever you can do to have a positive response to it. Do things like cuss them out. I'm just joking. Express yourself. Express yourself. Don't but that's better than going and eating something bad, like, going and ordering Chinese at lunchtime and, sitting over there with all the sisters in the circle and talking about them and y'all chowing down on cake and Chinese and this and that. And, she don't look like that because she's not responding to her stress that way. But when you respond to your stress in that negative way of self-hurting, in like a positive way, like walk, bring your sneakers to work and walk away from that place. Is that your chances of getting a promotion or another job healthy are much higher if you're healthy and looking good. That's what you want, man or woman. Statistics say that healthy, good-looking people do better, unfortunately. And as we get older, that don't have nothing to do with the little things that it has to do when you were a little kid. As you get older, it's healthy. That's what good looks mean. That you can get around that office like anybody else. That's where you want to be. You don't want them to be able to say, well, she can't get down to the file cabinet. You don't want that. She can't pick up the paper. I had this girl one time, I would look over and she'd be like, she'd be knocked out. Young, but on every type of med in the world. And, really big, unfortunately. And like that, it's so hard to tell people when you're fighting the same battle as they are, and I would tell her and she'd be scared. She would be eating Chick-fil-A or something. I'd walk in the office. She'd be trying to hide it from me. And I'd be like, I don't want you to hide it from me, but I don't want you to feel, I didn't want her to feel bad. But I just wanted to encourage her to do healthy things. But we didn't have enough time together because she died one day, right in her sleep. But I know she enjoyed our time together because, from when we met and she was looking for a job and came to see me speak somewhere to get that job with me, and the transformation that I saw in her. But the doctor switched her heart medicine and she didn't wake up. But young. So and a lot of that was because of heartbreak from jobs previous of how they had disrespected her, how she, how they just did not treat her nicely, how her family had broke her heart, and violence against her. She had been molested as a child by her father, and never felt that anybody in the family was listening to her. That just being acknowledged, that you're being listened to sometimes can save a life, like Reverend Bozeman was saying about when, a story about a man, it was like, if one person smiles at me today, I won't kill myself, Nobody obviously didn't say anything. I feel that time that we had together, it really, she made a huge impression on me because it just let me know how important, your relationships are with the people around you. And it let me know, why I'm here. That, being here, it gave her hope. One day I just walked past her car and she was in there talking to somebody and she was like, my boss rides a motorcycle. Yeah. And she was da-da-da. And she was bragging on me. And I was like, oh. But like, I didn't know like she saw me like that. Like, and but we just don't know what day. And I'm telling you, the stuff you let happen to you in the past and how you deal with it will catch up with you later. And it's really strange how it does that. But like my father went through a very stressful situation. And as soon as he got his new job, he had heart failure. And I asked the nutritionist about that one time, and she said that kind of when you're caught up in the time of it, your adrenaline keeps you going. But when it's over, it happens a lot. Like the person's body will just, and like I have been thinking, and it's funny that God brought that to me because I was like wondering, like, why do I feel so worn now? I should feel better now because my divorce is final and finished. But I kind of feel like that, like slow motion and, track. But I think I was like leading up to the final divorce. I was like just trying so hard. I'm fine. I'm fine. And then after it's done, you just kind of, so like, cause especially last week, I felt tired a lot. And that was the week, and it was kind of like, wow, it's really over. Like, and then, so be careful and I thank God that I made a commitment to healthy responses to the stress I was going through, because if not, you don't know what would have happened. I thank God that I rested because some people would not rest. They would go, well, I just did that. I'm going to go out here and do something. I'm going to, you know what I'm saying? Go party or something. But I literally felt really tired, and I just rested. And in hindsight and thinking about that with her and with my father and, that, yeah, we better listen and not be violent with ourselves because external violence, like you can manifest it on yourself because it's like they're, treating me so bad. I'm going to treat me bad too. God forbid. And so be careful like of the violence that you see on TV and the violence that in the words that people say to you, be very careful what you allow yourself to be exposed to. Protect yourself. Like, I think that we allow ourselves to be exposed to way too much, like condescension and mean words and, and we don't have to, if they're not about you, don't spend time with them and don't try to convince them. And if you're in a workplace, you're talking about something that really can make you sick, just like a relationship can make you sick. You spend more time really at work. That can really make you sick. And that's violence against yourself to stay. Reverend Bozeman said the mind and body relax after the ordeal is over. And it reaches for rest. Exactly. And if you can't, you got to give it to it. They got to give it to it. That's what we need. Like, think about it. Like, we went from slavery and then we went right to work. What a dramatic experience that we had at work. Yeah, RT, sickness. Sickness starts in the mind. Or in the gut, the mind and the gut, huh? Because like you're thinking these negative thoughts, then generally people start eating really negative things. And then the bad stuff is in the gut. And then the gut sends out these bad things and makes you depressed. and your mind gets all messed up, puts the bad things into your blood, and then that blood goes through your brain. Yeah. So like your gut is so connected to depression. It's amazing. Like you can correct your diet and change your whole feeling. There could be a lot of violence that is created because of the lack of the diet that we have in our communities that needs to get in alignment, because your food is so spiritual. As you as you enhance your relationship with God, as Reverend Bozeman is encouraging us all continue to do, that our food choices become different. I found, yes, what you eat. You don't want to do bad when you feel really good about, God loves me, I'm good, like I feel good. You don't want to put bad stuff in you. You don't. That's beautiful. Workplace stress requires that you, Reverend Bozeman said, yeah, you can share it, Reverend Bozeman. I'm gonna let y'all go, but you were gonna say, I think you muted yourself.
I just typed out that workplace stress, whether it's a situation or a person.
Yeah.
See you, Reverend Jones, Mr. Jones. Requires that you connect with God. If you can find that peace that comes with a connection with God, that stress will go away. That stress will change or will be removed, whether that's a person or a situation. If you can find in yourself on a regular basis that connection with God, that thing that is bothering you will be taken out of your life.
Yes.
You can count on it.
Yes. You can't say that enough. It's so true. It's just hard to believe when you're in it.
Yeah, I know.
You tell people that and they're glad that look come over their face like, yeah, whatever. But it's real. It is so real. Like, yeah, just trust him. And I think we're saying your mind has to open and allow your heart to open to that God could really love you and love us like in all of our messed up ways, that God looks past all of that and still is looking out for us.
That's right. We don't know how powerful we are. It really is mind-boggling how powerful we really are. All we need to do is stop doubting it.
Yeah, because we've had everybody we know tell us that we're not. No, even more importantly, everybody you love or most that you've loved have told you that you're not.
Right. That's right.
So now you're saying I'm supposed to believe, you know what I mean? This what God is putting in my head, that I'm worthy. I'm supposed to believe that, and then you better know it within 10 minutes of that or so, something is going to happen to try to change that thought or that reality.
Yeah.
Because the reality is that God loves us.
And
all the
never
other stuff
outside
is fake, right? All the other stuff is fake.
That's right. God is always there, never away, always there. All you got to do is reach for it.
Let him in. Yes, indeed. You have to have that true relationship with that power within. Yes. And know that you're worthy. Knowing that you're worthy. Yes. It's amazing, though, what we can do. And it's amazing what our bodies can do. Yes. it is really amazing. I just think that that we just have heard too many lies,
Mm-hmm.
heard too many lies, and I hope that those of you who um, are able to take advantage of the complimentary, no excuse membership of AfroEconomics will go in and do that, like, because the if you go in and then it will take you to like this site, but you'll click on the membership and just go down to the bottom. So I think it's very important that we create a peaceful experience that you feel safe in, and just go to afroeconomics.org and, consider that. Like, just do something. Do something to protect yourself from, from just being out there. Create a support system for yourself. You have to make it, if you feel that you don't have your money in the shape that it should be, put yourself in a position that you start getting your money together. That's it. Like, we've got to do it. We've got to do it. Y'all know, a year ago this time, right? And I said, I'm going to get healthy. This COVID's got me. Not COVID. Thank God. I never had COVID. Thank God. And it's still going around. So every day I thank God I don't have it. I didn't want it. I don't want it. But I mean, the pandemic, just really can have an effect on you. And I just said, I'm going to get healthy. And every day I had to wake up with that commitment. So I'm going to get healthy. And then all of these violent, things keep happening to you in your life just because you decide you want to, take care of yourself doesn't mean the world's going to stop. Just because you want to get your finances together don't mean the world's going to stop. So you have to equip yourself with, I can take on the world and I can stay focused on where God wants me to be. Because God wants us healthy. God wants us healthy. So I do have the health and wealth membership up too. So if you want to talk about healthy stuff along with your money stuff, let's do that. And so it's in there. When we do it all the time, the 10th principle of AfroEconomics is, Black health, Black wealth. I did a show on WVST the other day, and my first show talking about Black health, Black wealth. So it's good. That means that God, like you said, all we need is God. So God is getting the word out there that health and wealth connection is real, and a lot of the violence is because of the mental health problem that has been created for us based on the mental health problem of other people. So we've been created in this, like, the world, this system has created a mental health problem for all the participants. Everybody's a victim in a way, because the cop that's beating the person to death is as much a victim as the victim that's getting killed, because the cop has been messed up in the head. So he's dead too. He's just alive, but he's dead. Because if you think that's okay, you gotta be dead. Your spirit is dead. And we gotta protect yourself through God. And and AfroEconomics is a peaceful place. The 5th principle of AfroEconomics is our relationship with God. Like, and that's the core of this, that we have to keep that open in all of our decisions so that we can be centered and know that we have help, right? We have help. Thank you, everybody. I'll put my email up as y'all listen to my chill music. I love both of y'all. Thank you so much. I'll see y'all soon.
All right.
I'm gonna put the email up so it'll be in this recording.
See you Friday.
See you Friday.
All right.
So sweet. Thank you.
All right.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night. It's so good. And make sure you subscribe to YouTube. Yes, indeed. Please subscribe and share. Please like if you like. Good night, Mr. Jefferson. Thank you for saying good night. Good night, Queen Howard. Good night, Mr. Jenkins. Good night, Grandma person with that pretty baby. Good night. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Archie's window cleaning. Good night, Chris. Good night. Be ready Friday. Have your camera on. We're gonna get Luanda in there on Friday. Thank you, Miss King. I'm so glad. That's so nice. Thank you. We enjoyed the show. Y'all are a blessing. See you soon. And don't forget to go to AfroEconomics.com or .org. Click the membership and take advantage of, at minimum, the no excuse. Because there's no excuse, right, Nathan? Oh, thank you. That's so nice of you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. Have a good week. We still got Thursday and Friday and Saturday left. That's right. Good. Good night.